What's up, guys? Ricky here with another review on something I found at the local comic shop. 1313 Mockingbird Lane Toys and Collectibles. It's in Lawrence, Kansas. If you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend. They get new stuff all the time. It's a small little shop, but they have lots of stuff in there. So for $15, I picked up the Gorilla Grodd Mega Figure Page Puncher. So this is a figure I saw that I definitely passed on because it was a little expensive because it's a mega figure. But two, there was just a lot of paint detail that could be amplified. But for $15, I thought this would be a sweet project. So what I'll do is I'll show you all this. We'll go through just a review, and then I will do a custom on it for sure because it's got so much hidden potential. Love it. So let's open this up and see what we're looking at. Okay, here is Gorilla Grodd out of the package. And this one actually has a lot of really good detail on it. It's really interesting, though. That's the only reason why I was turned off by this one, is just because of the armor. And we'll talk more through some of the details here. So when you look close, right, really good textures and details on the face. Even the armor has good textures and details. Right, they added a little bit of blue. They dry brushed on the mouth just to differentiate it. If you look at the arms, right, they did a black and they did like a medium gray. Dry brushed on it to really bring out the textures, which is what I was going to do, which is probably what I'll still do. I think it could benefit from a little bit more, especially on the stomach. They didn't do any on the stomach. I think that would make some of those details pop, so I'll do that when I customize it. But they did it to the arms, right, the legs. That looks really good. And the feet, right, they even added some blue to the feet, right, dry brushed that. So the details and paint application actually on Gorilla Grodd himself look really, really good, right? Even if you turn him around and you look at the back, right, right, so good details showing there, texture, like, it's phenomenal, right? Looks great. But then you put just a standard, like the most basic orange armor and cape and plastic stuff on it, and you took this figure from being like legit to looking kind of cheap, right? Which is unfortunate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to customize this, make it look so much better. And I'll tell you through the process what I'm going to do. So when you look really close, right, look at all these details on the armor that are just hidden because there are no extra colors to differentiate, right? You have some gold, don't get me wrong, the gold looks fine, but the orange. So what I'm probably going to do, because I do like the way it is differentiated, I will probably take a gold and I will dry brush over the top of it enough to start kind of shifting the orange color to look a little bit more metallic and gold. I just don't want it to look as gold as those pieces. I think it's really cool how they kind of separated those. So I'll do that first. Then secondly, I'll probably take a little bit of silver, even less silver than gold, and touch up on certain pieces just to make it look like the armor has been kind of worn a little bit, right? Because I'm sure he's done battle in it, so that should look good. And then I'm going to black wash it, right? And that black wash is really going to bring out all these details, and it's going to look really, really good. So I'm really excited about that. And probably the cape, so you can look here real quick. That looks good. So gold. Right, and then what I'll do with the cape is I will probably paint the cape a different color. So I could black wash it and it should look good. I might do a little bit of white dry brushed over it just to make it look a little different. We'll see. We'll see what I do with the cape. But the cape definitely needs to be something other than this same color as everything else, in my opinion. But yeah, so overall, looking pretty good. So let's get into the articulation. Okay, here we go. We got Gorilla Grodd here. So head articulation, so moves down about that far. So it doesn't look down too far. Does look up a lot, and you can see you do have a really big gap there. So that obviously looks a little strange, but depending on the position you get him in, it could look okay. So it goes up pretty high. So, and then you do have a pivot, which is nice, and then obviously the rotation. So arms go up about 90 degrees, and the armor is very flexible, so it's basically glued in right here, which is nice, so you have full range of motion. Right? You do have a single jointed elbow that does have rotation, which is nice. And then you do have wrist articulation and rotation as well. So, so that happened. So if you wanted to know what the ball joint looks like, you have the middle there, and then it connects right there. Okay, so don't push too hard. So fun fact there. Okay, but clips in easy. So you can go forward about that far. If you go any further, you will break it. Or not break it, you'll dislocate it, and it goes back about that far. So you don't get a whole lot of motion, just a little bit. And then you do get a little bit of side to side, but the rotation is the big feature here. So very cool. So you have about do the splits, so it looks good there. You do have a little bit of rotation here as well. You can go up, not super high, right? So about 45 degrees. You do have single jointed knees with rotation, and you do have ankle pivot. Whoops. articulation as well. Okay, so be really careful with that. So I'm curious, does anybody else just come off that easy? So that was really interesting. So hey, it's a fun video. Fun video. Okay. So overall articulation is not terrible for a big mega figure. The only problem, the torso articulation is not great. However, he is a gorilla, so you might not have to do too much with it, but it does come off apparently. So especially on mine. Curious about yours. So put in the comments if you have it and it does the same thing. Okay, but overall, not bad. Okay, so we got Gorilla Grodd there in the middle on the left. We have Darkseid armored on the right. Looks like Darkseid stands a whole head taller. To the far left, we have Doomsday from the Doomsday Superman 2-pack. And Doomsday stands also almost a head taller. Depends if we're counting the top of the armor. If it is, it's about half a head taller. And then to the far right, we have Mongol, who definitely stands at least a head taller and is the tallest. So here we go real quick. So let's see what we're looking at. We have the top of the armor. Looks like we're looking at 8.5 inches tall, which looks like we are looking at 22 roughly centimeters. It's looking pretty good. So I'm going to do the size comparison now of Gorilla Grodd versus the Cygor from Spawn. Okay, and here's a quick size comparison between Cygor from McFarlane Spawn and Gorilla Grodd. And you can tell Cygor is quite a bit bigger. So one, he's taller. He's also wider. Overall, very menacing. So if you're curious how it stands out, as far as them together, this is what it looks like. So love the Cygor figure, right? Really good details, right? Good black wash throughout. Love the paint detail there as well. And just like I said with Gorilla Grodd, they could definitely benefit from this one by just dry brushing like a medium gray on the top of it, just to bring out some of that fur. And maybe when I do this one, maybe I'll do the same and customize that one. So I think that makes a lot of sense. So here we go. So let's get into final thoughts. Okay, final thoughts on Gorilla Grodd. So story of this character, a great figure with some missed opportunities. So they did a great job actually on Gorilla Grodd itself, like I said earlier. So they did the solid black, but they did dry brush a little bit of medium gray over the top to really bring out those textures. They even dry brushed some blue around the mouth, around the feet, right? That look really good. So they did a lot of really good detail. And then, right, they put the armor on it, and they didn't do any detail on the armor. So unfortunate, because for those that don't customize, it just cheapens it, right, unfortunately. But overall, the sculpt, the detail, and everything is amazing. And I'm really looking forward to customizing this one because this figure is not even going to look the same. It's going to look so epic and so cool. So really looking forward to that. And I'll make sure that I record that video so you can see this one firsthand on how to customize it. So if you have one at home and you want to see what that looks like, we can hopefully go through that together. So thank you all so much for supporting the channel. Like and subscribe. We just passed 1,700 subscribers, so thank you all so much. And, I'll catch you all in the next video.